everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I am back in my own house. I don't know if you have noticed, but I have been in my mom and dad's house actually for the last couple of weeks, so I'm so happy to be back here for a little bit. Today I'm gonna talk about books because it's middle of summer and hopefully you got more time than usual to read. And yeah, I just thought it was nice to give some recommendations of some good sustainability, environmental issues, topics on some books. So I got 3 books here today. The first one I want to talk about is this one. I read it in Swedish and it's called This Changes Everything: Capitalism versus Climate by Naomi Klein. It's quite heavy, very small letters in this one. It was a really good book. Like I said, heavy, so I don't think, well, really, actually none of these books that I'm recommending today are books that you should kind of give to your parent who doesn't care about the environment, because I don't think that person will appreciate it. It's not like a crash course in environmental issues. These ones are a little bit more advanced, but you definitely do not need a degree in environmental things like I do or something to be able to read it. I felt like this one was maybe the hardest book, I guess, because not around the environmental things, at least not for me, but I know I've read another book about something with capitalism from her before. And yeah, it's a lot about political things, so maybe you need to have some basic political understanding to be able to understand what she's talking about. So basically, she doesn't believe in capitalism. Basically, she's saying that how it is now, with the free market controlling everything, we are not moving in the right direction. The emissions are just increasing and increasing, and yeah, nothing is happening. And she's saying that is because of the free market and a lot of the solutions we got right now. So it's like you can compensate free flight, or the cap and trade system, which is that companies can buy rights to emit carbon dioxide. Kind of, so it's like a trading thing there, a market for carbon emissions, or trying to put a price on the environment. And she's saying all these things are coming from the free market mentality. It works great with that, but nothing is happening, so it's not working. So she thinks that instead we need more solutions that are more left side of the political scale solutions, so more taxes, subsidies for green solutions, and penalties for the companies and people that are emitting too much, and also to focus on the public sector more and less private own. And she's finding a lot of connections between environmental issues and other social issues, so she's saying we can solve it all together. And she's also saying that we do not need these extreme technical solutions. There's a group of solutions that are called geoengineering, and that means that instead of trying to reduce the emissions, going to the source of the problem, like reducing carbon dioxide in our lifestyle, it is about changing the climate instead. So for example, reducing the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, or even covering the sunlight, so reflecting away sunlight to reduce the temperature on the planet. There are a lot of risks with that. I could talk about this forever, but she got some good convincing arguments why it doesn't work, and why we can get a lot of other problems like droughts, and we might not be able to see a blue sky if we're trying some of these solutions. Well, next. Second book is called Climate Wars. I feel like this one was a little bit easier to read and to understand. Quite a scary book. It's talking about what the world will look like in the future. And the first 2 pages is just the global scenario in 2045. And it's not a happy one. is just saying that all the borders are closed and there's not enough food in the world and there's so many like climate refugees and it's just like a really awful world. And the book is divided in chapters, and like half of them are scenarios and half of them are more like the facts about what's going on. And this is definitely not like the average scenario, or probably not the most likely, but it's definitely a possible scenario. So it could happen, and it's really interesting to put climate change into the perspective of what would happen with the world and societies, how would it affect just like the political situation in the world. So it is scary, but it's very interesting, and I also think it's very important because it's definitely a risk that we will have big problems between countries in the future. So it's mainly saying that we're going to have problems with food, water and land, even without climate change, because we're just so many people living on this planet. We will probably be about 10 billion people in 2050, and it's going to be hard to make the resources last for everyone. It's also talking about different feedbacks in the world, that it's not like the temperature will stay at a certain degree correlated to the emissions. There are so many other things in nature that can make the changes a lot quicker and earlier and larger. And he also got some scenarios where like we have kind of tried out these geoengineering solutions and it has gone bad. He's not totally against them, but yeah, some risks are in that book. So yeah, it's a good and interesting book, and I recommend you to read it. And slightly easier than the first one. In the final one, this one is called Plastic Ocean. How a sea captain's chance discovery launched a determined quest to save the oceans. So it's a little bit different from the other ones. Like half of it is kind of this captain's experience from his like research projects and what he has found during these trips, and also like just basic facts about the situation with plastics in the world. And I found that this book was probably the easiest one to read. To be honest, the bits about his own research, that wasn't that interesting for me. I felt like it was a little bit slow, but I really liked how he explained like the history of plastic very well and how it all started. And I liked the chapter with when he's talking about other types of environmental like toxic substances, for example PFAS, and he's explaining why plastic is not good for us or the animals, and just like how the situation is in the ocean and how we need to change and move towards like a no packaging society, like zero waste basically. And so it's a very interesting one. Yeah, so I liked all the three books. I must say this was probably the one where I was like the most emotional, and I probably liked this one the most. But they all were good. What I do feel is like they are quite like pessimistic, not because the problem isn't bad, but sometimes it's nice to hear some solutions, like what are we going to do about it then? They have like a tiny bit, maybe not this one, but these two have some like solutions, but it's mainly about how bad it is. So it's a little bit depressing maybe to read that on your holiday, but it's very good reading here. I hope you got some inspiration here, and that you will pick up some or all of these books and just learn more about this very important topic that we got here. I have actually read more books about this, so I'm gonna come back with another video, and hopefully there will be some other types of books as well then. So yeah, thank you for watching and see you in my next video. Bye!